LivTalks episode. We've been to Rome, we've been to Venice, we've been to Milan, we've been in Paris, we've been in Barcelona, back to Italy in fourth. Now today we could not have been but with Imma in Pompeii, who's going to tell us and share with us the greatest and deepest secrets of this long lost city that everybody always wants to go see when they're in Italy. Buonasera, Imma.
Buonasera to you. Good evening, everybody. Nice to meet you. Welcome in Pompeii. I live in Pompeii. And what's more on me, I am an archaeologist. I studied archaeology at the university in Naples. I work as a local guide, and I worked into the past as an archaeologist. My favorite place is Pompeii, of course, because I was born here in Pompeii. It was written into the stars that my destiny was written already, and Pompeii is a magical place. I am sure that you know it. We know about everything about Pompeii, but believe me, Pompeii is really a wonderful and a magical place. It's my life.
It is.
Yes.
I mean, you were born in Pompeii. You live right next to the amphitheater, as you were telling me. You tour Pompeii on a daily basis. You study archaeology. Ancient Pompeii, a lost city revealed. What a beautiful title, Imma. Let's get right into it. Here's the first picture you chose.
Oh, wonderful. This is our forum. Forum is Latin name for main square. This is a view that you can enjoy from the main square of Pompeii, the forum. The forum was political, social, economical, was considered the heart of the city, as it is a very large square, and is dominated by the skyline of of Vesuvius, which is one of the most dangerous volcanoes all over the world. The first thing I want to point out is that, most part of people living here in 79 AD, after Christ, yes, AD, they didn't know it was a volcano. They thought it was a mountain. They considered it a god, God Vesuvius, a good god, because gave the prosperity to the valley down below. Pompeii was incredibly rich. 15,000 people was total population of Pompeii, 5,000 very, very rich people, as Bill Gates today, and 10,000 of slaves. And take in mind that most part of them died during the eruption of 79 AD, which is still today considered one of the most destructive natural events of the history of humanity, Yeah? They didn't know because our volcano, nickname of Vesuvius is Baby Monster, but only people living in Naples can call it Baby Monster.
Baby monster.
Baby Monster. Why it is so dangerous? Because our volcano is an explosive volcano, it's not an efflusive volcano. This means that there is no lava flowing out, but main eruption is composed by gases, ashes, liquid lava, and burning clouds, pyroclastic clouds that can reach 400 degrees, can run 100 kilometers per hour. When you have an explosive volcano, you have a big eruption each 2,500, 3,000 years. In between, small eruption not so imposing. When Pompeii was built in the 8th century before Christ, people had no memory of a big eruption before. This means that nobody advised them, what are you doing? You are building a volcano, you are building a town in front of a volcano. So they didn't know. So you can imagine when everything started, they were also surprised about. They thought, why God Vesuvius is so upset with us? We didn't do anything to upset him. Today, we know what does it means big eruption because of the eruption of 79. So now we are advised about. But people living in 79 AD in Pompeii, they didn't know it was a volcano.
Is it true, in fact, that before the tragic night of 79 AD, there had been a few signals of small earthquakes, but still that did not give any sort of hint to the population of Pompeii that something abnormous as the eruption would have had happened?
Yeah, the area located closer by to the volcano is still today famous for earthquakes. So people knew that they were inside an area with many earthquakes, but they didn't link all these earthquakes with the volcano, because for them it was a mountain. If you have a look now to the slide, to the photo, you can see that is a peaceful mountain. So nothing advise you that is a volcano. So there were many earthquakes before October 79, not so imposing, but there were many earthquakes. The last one was in 662 before Christ, and many houses were under restoration when the big eruption arrived. But they didn't realize that they were just attached to a volcano. Is only 2 miles flying. So the city town was built just at the foot of the mountain, of the volcano.
Just so that I help the people that are watching the live version of this, or are going to watch the recorded version, if you go to Mount Etna in Sicily, for example, like Imma is trying to explain, there are constant fumes
and lava getting outside. Yeah.
And lava coming out and de-stressing the mountain from the pressure. Vesuvius accumulates pressure and doesn't erupt in any way, shape, or form. You may see a little fume coming out when you go and walk around the eyelid of the eye of the volcano, but really there is no sign. And in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, to this day, the Vesuvius is extraordinarily dangerous for
is the third volcano, the third most dangerous volcano all over the world. The first one is Yellowstone in United States, is a super caldera, super volcano. Second one is Krakatoa up to Sumatra Island, and the third one is Vesuvius. Take in mind that next big eruption, because already 2,000 years passed by, next big eruption is closer by, not today, not tomorrow, but during next 400-500 years. From a geological point of view, 400-500 years is very closer by. And this is the main reason we have no lava, no fire getting outside, but only smoke. Now, if you remember, if you take in mind some photos of Naples and the volcano before 1944, they show that the volcano was smoking, because our volcano was smoking since March 1944. Last eruption was in March 1944, an eruption of 2 hours, 35 people died. So in 2 hours was a small eruption, but now it doesn't smoke anymore because there is a big solidified stone, lava stone, which closed the main exit. It's for this that it became so dangerous, because now all pressure, all ashes, all gases are pressed inside.
Just, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Pompeians, Neapolitans, everybody in that region is so extraordinarily solar and vibrant. And we often say that they are because there's beautiful landscape and there's the ocean and there's the sea and there's the beaches. My father's from Torre Annunziata, so I have Neapolitan family. And I like to say that Neapolitans are also very crazy. They love to live their life at the fullest all the time. They're very, very, and part of me says it's probably because they all have the inner fear that at some point all of this may end.
Yeah.
And they need to live their life at the fullest, and is such a beautiful way. Let's go to the next picture. This is what you chose.
This is a dog. It's the oldest dog all over the world. Its nickname is Snoopy, and he is a dog. He was in. Allora, now we are speaking now about plaster casts. What does it mean? Pompeii was covered by 20 feet of, just a moment, I want to check exactly feet because is 8 meters feet. Oh, I don't want to give you how many, ecco qua. From 20 to 27 feet of ashes, okay? Everything was completely covered, full of ashes. Now, take in mind, we are speaking about the dog, of course, but take in mind, there are 5 feet of ashes. I am running up to the ashes to run away, but at a certain point, I die by asphyxia, because most part of people living in Pompeii, they died by asphyxia, breathing ashes and gases. So I die in this position, and I fall up to the ashes. Some other ashes covered me, okay? This means that my body is pressed into the ashes for 2,000 years. After 2,000 years, organic tissue doesn't exist anymore, but there is only a cavity, an empty space in which my body was, with a few bones, mainly teeth and skull, which are very, very hard. So what we have to do is to find empty spaces, cavity into the ashes. When we find the cavity, we make a long hole, we fill the cavity by plaster, we wait about 2-3 weeks until plaster became dry, and after we take off ashes, and we can discover a dog, and this poor dog was chained to his house. Because when the disaster started, the owner, they didn't think to unchain animals. So we found dogs, horses, donkeys, attached to their house, as well as we found the pigs and chicken closed into the farm, because they died all together. And this poor dog died because he had no the possibility to run away. A curiosity, we found the pigs, we found the chicken, we found the dogs, donkeys, and horses. We didn't find mice and cats. Why?
Cats and mice. Why? I don't know.
Why? Because they were unchained. Yeah, wonderful. They were unchained, and they had the possibility, maybe the day before, because as you know, animals are sensitive. So the day before, they had the possibility. Is nice because I describe these to when I have young people, kids with me, and I say all together, cats and mice ran away all together in the same direction. They say to me, where did they went? I say, they took a boat to Tunisia, to North Africa. This is the truth, because it's incredible. In 48 acres, which has been excavated, we found many, many animals, except cats and mice. Rats.
So,
no,
yeah,
mice.
Yeah,
So this means that is strange. This means that they had the possibility to run away because they were unchained, is one of the theses, of course.
So Imma, if you're home with your loved one watching television one night, and all of a sudden you're like, honey, where's the cat? Then that's when you know you need to run away, since you live in Pompeii.
No, it's not true. They didn't take a boat, but in any case, they had the possibility to run away because they were unchained. Wonderful stones. This is the focal point. It's my favorite place of the archaeological park. Allora, square stones with an hole in the middle. You know, this was the place in which sailors used to tie their boat when they reached Pompeii. Few people know that Pompeii was in front of the sea. Pompeii had the 7 gates. The main one is called Porta Marina, which in English is Sea Gate. Why? Because it was opening on the sea. And all these stones with holes are just in front of the main dock of Pompeii. Today, the sea is 800 meters far, about 1 kilometer far from the archaeological area. This is the result of the big eruption of October 79. But it was not the sea who went back, were ashes who pushed back the sea. So, yes, so today everything, all the coastline, take in mind that we have lost 800 meters of coastline during the eruption of 79. So it's for this that it's considered one of the most dangerous, one of the most destructive events in the history of humanity. In only 3 days, the eruption took only 3 days, and we lost 1 kilometer of coastline. Today, the sea is much more far from Pompeii.
So exactly. So I want to make sure everybody understands here. This is to lock your boat to the dock. These are to rope your boat to the dock, which was right outside the city walls of Pompeii, and the Pompeii was right off the beach. Okay, and so to give an idea to people who go to Pompeii today, for example, if you're parking your car or getting off the train on outside of the archaeological excavation of Pompeii, you're actually in what would have been, before the October 79 eruption, beach, waterfront. You would be underwater, actually, if you were in the train in Pompeii today. You would be underwater 2,000 years ago. Because the eruption pushed the ocean away with its ashes almost 1 kilometer away.
No, sorry, 800 meters, not 8 kilometers. 800. Yes, thank you.
So, and then we built a city because we built neighborhoods on that kilometer of ashes that distances now Pompeii to the beachside, right?
Yes, exactly. Is this one?
Is the beach of Naples, or the front line of...
It's modern. The beach of Naples is modern.
It's modern. It's only 2,000 years old.
Yes, this means that was built 2,000 years ago, after the eruption of 79.
Is it regular golden sand, or is it
No,
dark?
it's black, dark sand. It's volcanic, like in Torre Annunziata. Torre Annunziata today is the coastline of Pompeii, but 2,000 years ago, Torre Annunziata was sea. And in Torre Annunziata, you have black sand, volcanic sand. Yes.
All right, let's go to the next picture. This is
wonderful. Is our horseman. Is original, but nothing to do with Pompeii. It stands just in the middle of the forum. Is contemporary art. Is a bronze statue, a bronze sculpture done by Mr. Igor Mitorai. Igor Mitorai, who died, is one of the most famous contemporary sculptor. He died in 2012 and left to Pompeii 2 bronze sculptures as a gift. The horseman here and the Daedalus on the other side, at the exit of the archaeological area. This one is my favorite one. Why? He is incredible huge, believe me. Is incredible huge, and it is placed just in front of the Vesuvius. First of all, you can see that inside there is a face. There is a kind of window with a face inside, and this is a reminder to our Greek origin, because Pompeii was built by Greeks. Was built by Greeks in the 8th century before Christ, but was totally colonized by Romans. So Pompeii is an ancient Roman town, but the first settlement dates back to the Greek time, okay? Do you remember the legend of Troy?
Yeah.
Yes, according to the legend, some people who survived to the war of Troy, they took the boat just to north of Mediterranean area, and they arrived in a nice bay with a wonderful mountain just in the middle, with excellent food, excellent weather, blah, 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 blah. And they built a new town, Napoli. Naples is the union of two small Greek words, nea, which means new, and polis, which means city. So Naples is the new city for ancient Greeks, which was the old one, Troy, which was completely destroyed. And this is a reminder to our history. First, second things, but this is my personal opinion, not the opinion of Mr. Igor Mitorai, how humans, the fragility of humans. You see, the horseman was the patron of Roman army, which was the most important army at that time during the Roman Empire. And is massive, is an important mythological hero, the horseman, but he is destroyed from the eruption. So how the humans are the fragility of humans. Today, we thought that thanks to the technology, we reached Mars, we reached the moon, we discovered medicaments. We think that we are God, because we have the control of everything. We are rich, we are modern, we have powerful, but this is a reminder that in a moment, everything can change, and also gods can be destroyed. But this is my personal opinion, and this is
It doesn't matter, Imma, because it's extraordinarily contemporary. I mean,
yes, of course.
I mean, it's phenomenal. We're talking about the destruction of a civilization in a matter of days, completely unexpected, for which they were completely unprepared.
Unprepared,
and,
yes.
And for which very few saved themselves. Most of 15,000 people died. You know, we don't predict and we don't expect the same thing to happen with COVID-19.
Absolutely not. But it's more than.
But we can certainly attest to the fragility of humankind towards nature and natural events. That's extraordinary. That's a beautiful concept. Speaking of fragility.
Another plaster cast, but take in mind that are people who died in any case. We have also bones inside, and we know that he was a man, a young man, 13 years old. We have done DNA tests to all our plaster casts. We have about 1,500 plaster casts. He was a young man, 13 years old, and he's not praying, but he is covering his nose by gases or ashes, and he died exactly in this position. How awful was to die in Pompeii, because when you die by asphyxia, you die in 2-3 minutes. During this time, you know that you are dying, but you cannot do anything to escape. So it was absolutely awful to die in Pompeii. And most part of people living in Pompeii in 79 died. Why? Because we have had only one witness. The name of this witness was Plinius the Youngest, who wrote in a letter to Tacitus, described the eruption. But take in mind that Plinius the Youngest, he was not in Pompeii, he was in Naples, so saw the eruption from a distance and described it. It's strange that we didn't find any other witness who had the possibility to write I was in Pompeii, I took my boat, and I was away. I was in Pompeii, I take the road to countryside, and I was safe. So it's incredible rich. So the archaeologists, we think that most part of people died. Very, very few of them had the possibility to be saved.
You said there's 1,500 plaster casts in
Yes,
total,
in
including
total.
animals, or just 1,500 humans?
No, 1,500 humans,
Ah,
animals, bred, because plaster cast is a technique which is valid. We can do plaster cast from any kind of organic
organic.
materials. So I include also doors or windows. So this means wood. 1,500 in total, which is about less than, if we speak about people, I think that we have no more than 550 persons. So few of them.
Now, obviously, you live in Pompeii, you're Pompeian yourself, you're an archaeologist, and you are in Pompeii almost inside the archaeological site almost every day. And you keep saying we, probably because of that. But I'm just curious to know the technique of filling a hole with plaster and
Yes.
coming up with the shape, whether it is a chicken or a person or a dog, is being done to this day because excavation is constantly going on. My simple personal curiosity, have you personally seen this process being done?
Yeah. There is an area, district number 5, we call. Allora, first of all, take in mind that this technique is not a modern technique. It was invented in the middle of 1800 by an archaeologist. The name was Giuseppe Fiorelli, was the first one who invented. Take in mind that today we have sonar, so it's very easy for us to find empty cavities. Pompeii has been excavated. We have a total area of 66 acres. 42 have been excavated. Sorry, 44 have been excavated. We have a lot of places which have not been excavated until today. We are making excavation works into the district number 5, which is still closed for visitors. And over there, we founded, and there was also myself, we founded an horse and a soldier and a man, a poor man. There were no poor men in Pompeii. Everybody were more or less rich. But we founded a man who was running away, bringing with him 3 sesterzi. This means 3 coins in a small leather bag. So maybe 3 coins, which was total money owned by this man. And I have seen, I have done the excavation for the horse.
Wow.
Not only me, of course. There were many other archaeologists that been in a pool, not only one. And me, I was in charge for the horse.
And what is the, I mean, I'm just curious, what is the level of excitement you feel when you find something?
It's incredible. I think that is like a drug, something like cocaine. Like cocaine, because believe me, but not only for people or animals, but even if, you know, when we excavated the bakery in Pompeii, we found it inside the owner bread focaccia, not pizza, but focaccia. So but also if you find a door which is in good condition to make a plaster cast, believe me, is like, for the archaeology, is like to touch the sky with a finger.
Yeah.
Because it's incredible that a young boy, a teenager of 13 years old is still alive. Because for me, it is not a plaster cast. It's a young boy. Dog that we have seen is not a dog who died, but for me is alive. After 2,000 years is incredible. It's because, like to touch with your hands the past.
Exactly. This is what I want people to understand here. There is no better and more approachable or closer look at ancient life than Pompeii, probably due to the tragic, I mean, because of the tragic event of the ashes covering everything in a matter of hours and just a couple of days, and how unexpected the entire population was.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for this, we would not have such a good window looking into
Of course.
life.
This is also, okay, public bath. Public bath, which were called terme, public spa. Allora, of course, in Pompeii, like all over the Roman Empire, they had fresh water in their houses. They had a bathroom, but public baths were considered like Twitter and Facebook today. Public bath was a social place, a place in which people used to meet, to meet friends, to make new friends, and for husbands was a very important place because public bath was the place in which they used to make business. Was a social place, and everybody had the possibility to go to the public bath without paying anything from 9 o'clock in the morning, no, sorry, from 7 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, gentlemen, men. From in the afternoon, women. After 7 o'clock, slaves also were allowed. It was a very important place. Take in mind the main economy of Pompeii was to ship, to export olive oil and wine to all Mediterranean countries, to Spain, to France, to Morocco, to Tunisia, to Greece, to Turkey. And 5,000 people was 5,000 rich businessmen exporting olive oil and wine. So you can imagine me and you getting into the bath here. This is the sauna, the hottest room. And I say to you, Angelo, you know, I have 200 liters of olive oil and I don't know to whom I have to sell this olive oil. And you say to me, Imma, listen, in Istanbul, which was named in
Constantinople,
they have a desperate needing of olive oil. I say to you, Angelo, is true. Okay, tomorrow I will take my boat and I will bring my olive oil in Istanbul. And if I sell them it, I will give you a nice commission. This was the way to make business into the public bath.
I just want to make sure that people understand that Pompeii was a wealthy city because it was a port exchanging olive oil and wine.
Where these olive oil and wine were produced, up to the mountain.
Exactly.
Closed by to the town, is for this that the volcano was considered a good god, because gave the prosperity to the valley down below.
And just for anybody who's listening, Pompeian wine of grapes that grow on the mountain is actually really, really good. I will tell you,
and also limoncello.
All right.
They had we founded the 3 pharma factories just in the middle of the volcano.
Yeah.
My favorite home. This is
a home. This is somebody's home inside Pompeii. 5,000 rich people. This is one family's home.
One family home, about more than 75 people living here, but take in mind that according to the Roman tradition, male sons used to live with father. Women had to leave the house, the home, to move into their husband home. And also in the same home, slaves used to live with owners. So this huge complex is a home, but for us is a villa, like the one up to Beverly Hills, was used by 75 more or less people, including slaves. Allora, this garden is fantastic because it's one of our last archaeological works. First of all, the paleoarchaeologists have been done plaster cast of the roots of the tree. So they have recreated the garden in the same shape with the same brush plants as it was 2000 years ago. So we are looking to a garden, the same garden of 2000 years ago before the eruption. Is a very large complex, and its name, it belonged to Pompeii family. Pompeii family was incredibly rich, was very important, and one of the women belonging to this family became the second wife of the emperor Nero in Rome. So take in mind that this family was so important, so rich, that the emperor Nero chose a woman, a lady, girl. No, it was not a girl, but was a woman from this family to be as a second wife. And the villa, the complex, is full of wonderful frescoes, like the legend of Troy, like the legend of Actaeon and Diana. Diana was the hunting goddess. So it's one of the favorite places. And also it seems that it will be open all day long. So it's one of favorite places, because only here you can touch with your eyes is how rich was the class, the VIP living, how rich was Pompeii. More than 120 rooms. Of course, we can visit only few of them, but is an incredible. Here you can touch with your eyes is how rich was Pompeii, like Rome at the time. But Rome was the capital of an empire. There is a reason for which it was rich. But Pompeii was not a capital of an empire, but I think that Pompeii was capital city of money at the time.
I just want to make sure that people have heard what you said about, I hope this is going to be open all day. What people tend, and you actually said it before, only 44 of the 66 acres of Pompeii have been excavated, and you're still working on the remainder 22, which means that a lot of people tend to forget that this is not, I mean, it is a dead city, but it is not a dead city. People are still working in it, and it's an ongoing excavation, ongoing restoration in some cases. And that is why maybe you will not find everything constantly open, and you may find detours or a room or an entire villa on lockdown for a restoration because they found something, because they made a discovery. Teams that are composed by people like Imma herself. So this is something that it's good for the logistics of a tour, and it's important for us to explain to our clients, but it's also what makes this place really magic, you know?
Yeah, it's for this, because maybe you can reach this villa in this closet because they are restoring a small fresco inside. There is no way to check this. This one is so important that, but sometimes I found it closed. But in any case, we will do our best to
All right, here is, I think this is your last
wonderful. This is a typical street of Pompeii. This is the Decumano Massimo. This means main road, like Fifth Avenue in New York. Pompeii has 3 main roads getting from west to east. This is one of the road part, a small part of the main road. Pompeii, especially for guests, for friends who never been in Pompeii, Pompeii is also surprising, because when you are inside, you are able to realize how large is Pompeii. It's incredibly large. You need about 3 days if you want to see everything. It's true that most part of things are like this building here, completely destroyed. But believe me, if you want to stroll in Pompeii, you need more than 3 days just to stroll from east to west. And the typical way to build road And telling you more, Romans were so clever, not like today. Romans were so clever that they used big volcanic stones, black stones, as you can see, big volcanic stones to build the road. And also 4 times in a year, each changing of season, they used to cover the road with sand and lime. This means that before the eruption, roads, streets were quite smooth and flat. This 2000 years ago. If you come here in modern Pompeii, you are not able to work because there are this is really a disaster. I don't know why they don't build the road as 2000 years ago.
2000 years ago, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's incredible.
These little stones that I hear come out of the sidewalk, can I assume that these are to stop the wheels from rolling down in case they wanted to stop at a shop?
Yes, yes, of course. And also it's not possible to see, but there is a hole just here, because take in mind that all these buildings that you see left and right, they are shops.
Shops.
In Pompeii, there is an incredible number of shops. Most part of buildings, 75% are shops. And only 25% of buildings are houses or villa. But was an emporium, was like, I don't know, New York or Philadelphia or Boston today, a place in which it was possible to buy any kind of things coming from the Mediterranean Sea, like Boston, New York, Philadelphia today. In any case, there is a hole up to the stones here in which people used to tie their donkeys or their horses outside the shops, of course, just to stop their horses and take or leave some gods. Which kind of gods? Everything. Wood from Lebanon, perfume, gold, silk, a lot of silk shop, clothes, leather, and many fast food.
Yeah, like bakeries and stuff.
Very popular.
Very good.
Apollo, Mr. Apollo. Apollo, who was one of the main god for Greeks and Romans. Apollo was the supervisor of sunshine, wind, and sea. Of course, they had different gods. Neptune, Poseidon was for the sea, blah, blah, blah. But Apollo was the supervisor of these 3 elements. This huge temple dedicated to Apollo is the first building that you find arriving in Pompeii after docks, and is the last one that you find leaving Pompeii. Was the place in which sailors were obliged to get in on their arrival, just to say thank you very much, Apollo. We have had a nice journey from I don't know where, and was the last one they were obliged to get in before leaving, just asking, praying to have a nice journey. Is a very large temple, which was built, was built in the 6th century before Christ. This means that 2,600 years ago, Pompeii needed such a large temple because there were a lot of sailors arriving and leaving. Thank you to have been with me during this hour. Ciao, Angelo.
Thank you so much, Imma.
Thank you to you.
Your generosity. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ciao a tutti. Bye-bye, everybody.